Hello and welcome to Policy Bazaar. I'm Arjun Bhagat. Now, recently I overheard a discussion between one of my cousins and his wife about insurance policies. Now, he's in his late 20s and is yet to buy an insurance policy. Now, he tried to do some background research and eventually got
the purpose it is intended. And I think that is a far better way. Now, the increasing part is very, very important. My grandfather retired in 1970. And I'm using that example because people don't look at history.
So you're also talking about inflation.
Inflation, of course. Right. When he retired, he was a colonel in the army.
The value of your money is going to go down over the years.
Exactly.
So you need to compensate for that.
Over the last 30, 40 years, it's gone 100x. You know, somebody who used to earn 700 rupees, a colonel in the army used to earn 700 rupees 50 years, 40 years ago. Today, it's 2-3 lakh rupees, right? So obviously, it's gone up. House prices have gone up. Everything has gone up. So if one takes 1 lakh rupee cover today, and if they do not have this protection that one is speaking about the 5% every year, they have the same amount of funds available 20 years from now as they have today, which will be maybe 1/20th the value.
Income replacement plans a bit more, and also take some of your questions. You can write to us at queries@Policy Bazaar. Arjun Bhagat, and with me is K.S. Gopalakrishnan, CEO and Managing Director of Aegon, and of course we've got Yashish Daya. And Gopal, we were talking about income replacement plans. Now, what are some of the new innovations that have happened, which will get more people to look at term insurance plans more seriously?
Yeah, so the term market started interestingly as a pure term product which pays a lump sum on death, and then there are two variants of income plan that has come into the market, as I explained. We have also seen joint life term plans coming into the market. So what a joint life does is there's a husband and wife, and if either of them were to die first, it will pay a lump sum and then a series of payments over a period of time. So like that, we are actually starting to see more and more innovations in the pure, what we call the pure protection space.
Explain a little bit more on the joint term plans, because that's an area that we've got some questions from our viewers as well.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So let's talk about a husband and wife, both are say working somewhere, and let's say they have got a liability, they have a home loan, and so instead of both of them buying two separate term insurance plans, if they want to buy just one combined term insurance plan, that's known as a joint life plan. So what it does is that when either of them die, whether the husband or the wife dies first, unfortunately, it can pay a lump sum which can be used to pay off the outstanding loan. And to the surviving spouse, it can also provide a stream of, say, monthly payment for a period of, again, could be 5 years, 10 years, the period can be chosen. No? We'll pay a series of payments for a period of time. Because from a double income family, it becomes a single income family. So that is what this series of payments is trying to do. So we continue to see more and more innovations coming in the space. However, as Yashish said at the start of the conversation, I think we have to start seeing more and more customer interest in buying life insurance for what is life insurance, which is pure protection.
So tell me, this seems to be a concern across the board as far as the industry is concerned. People are not really looking at pure term insurance plans, and that itself is actually what insurance is all about, right? Isn't it?
Yeah.
So, but why aren't people going in for that? Is it a lack of understanding, or they find it too expensive? What do you think the reason is? And what would you tell people, in terms of advice? What advice would you give young people or people in 30s or 40s?
I will touch upon 3 points. Number one, I think India and largely Asia is a fatalistic society. What do I mean by that? In Hindi, they say sabko likh ke bhej diya. So we think we are all immortals, we will not die. So I always give an example of, there are 2 flats on a floor, and me and my neighbor, I can consume 100 grams of butter every day, but my neighbor will get heart attack. So nothing will happen to me, my neighbor will get everything that has to go wrong. I think as a society, we are wired like that. That's one reason people don't like to talk about death, talk about falling sick, and therefore a term insurance kind of concept is slightly difficult. But that is changing significantly in India with the demographic changes and so on. So that's one. Second, I think a lot of Indians, when they buy life insurance, they get confused. What they do is they decide how much premium they want to pay. They don't look at how much sum assured or risk cover I'm getting. And then they end up buying all the savings products where they think they are paying 25,000 rupees, 50,000 rupees premium, but all the insurance cover they are getting is only 5 lakhs rupees, which means nothing for them if they were to die, unfortunately. So that's the second part that we have seen. Third, linking to the other two actually is that everyone buys motor insurance, whether they have a scooter or a car. Then nobody asks what do I get if I don't make a claim during that 1 year. But in life insurance, that's the first question people ask.
Perhaps because it's mandatory also.
Yes.
From a mindset point of view, you know, that's what I'm...
Correct. But yeah, even in health insurance, people are buying health insurance, but they don't ask the question, if I don't make a claim, will I get my premium back? That question doesn't get asked in health insurance. In life, that's the first question quite often we encounter. Nothing will happen to me, so what will I get at the end of the term? I think that has to start changing, and as I said, we have started seeing that change because we now do see people who are aged, 32, 35, getting a heart attack, and unfortunately they just die. There are accidents where people die. We see it every day nowadays. I think that has started creating more and more awareness. And also, I think related to that is, and that's where I think Policy Bazaar has played a big role as well. Yes, there is also a large segment of the society, which is an emerging segment, which would like to deal with the insurers directly. So in other words, they are sort of more self-aware, more self-controlled, self-in-charge. They would like to go browse the net and see what's there on the space there for them to buy. They are also hunting for value. They are hunting for superior purchasing experience. And I think that's the generation that will move more and more towards term insurance and pure protection plans.
Right. Yashish, of course, we are underinsured. That's a point that you've made many times as a country. Now, we are towards the end of the financial year. And, Gopal made that point that towards the end of the financial year, a lot of people end up making the wrong decisions as far as your policy is concerned. You buy, products, insurance products, which do not serve the purpose. So what would you tell, our viewers? What advice would you give them? And also talk a little bit about term insurance in that sense.
Yeah, so see, my only suggestion to viewers is term insurance is not a product which people will come on your door knocking and try to sell to you. Because for a very simple reason, a term insurance product like we've been now selling for the last 5-6 years, on average it's a 10,000 rupee product, on which on average somebody will make 2,000-3,000 rupees. It's not enough for somebody to come knocking to your door, say, please fill up this form, I must convince you. So the nudge will be weaker here. And the nudge, unfortunately, in our country is required. Even today, even for someone like us, at least 60 to 70% of the sales happen because there's a call center. People come, they look, but they don't buy. And somewhere as a society, we've got to get into this habit of, look, if it's important to you, please buy it. If it's not important, just because a nudge is there, there's no point buying it, right? So somewhere I think that thing is playing a big role in the take-up of consumer-centric products. And if you want products which are centric to you, which are good to you, then you have to put in the effort. These products are good for you. It's very clear. Tomorrow if the bread earner is not there, the family is going to have difficulty. Everybody's family is going to have difficulty. So how can one not plan for it? Everybody knows it, but it's just you won't be reminded of it by people because they're not paid enough to keep reminding you again and again. You're the one who's got to think about it also, and I think somewhere the responsibility.
So you're talking about self-initiative and also to be more aware of one's life and its finality in that sense. Gopal, your final take before we end the show.
Yeah, so I would encourage people to look at life insurance. It's something everyone needs. If I am gone, my family has to be financially secure. Nobody can replace the emotional loss. So I think people should start understanding that they have a responsibility towards their family and near ones. And instead of being driven by saying, "मैं तो 50,000 premium दे रहा हूँ," they should look at what is the cover I am buying when I am gone. Is my family going to be financially secure? I think if they start looking at life insurance that way, I think it's good for the society.
Right, on that very important note, thank you so much for joining us. That's all the time that we have on the show. But last week we asked you a question. A group policy, a group life policy provided by your employer will stay in effect if you leave your job. Is that true or false? And the answer is false. Winner is Sandeepa. Congratulations there. Now this week's question is, what is term insurance premium? A, the amount your insurance companies charge each month, quarter or annum. B, a bonus that you get at the end of every year if you stay covered. Well, that's all the time that we have, but do write to us at queries@policybazaar.com. Goodbye.